chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You can hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to the
Good evening,
show.
Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Well, good afternoon. Happy holidays. Hello to our global family as well. Welcome to the Friday edition of Sabrina Speaks right here on cmrtv.com. Let me get all these links going up here, please. Excuse me. There we go. Yeah, I got it. It's amazing. I've been doing this for so darn long, and there's just, you want to make sure you're live and get things going, and off it goes. But yes, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. It is so good to be back with you. I am Sabrina, and yes, how's your Black Friday going? Really? The holiday season is here, whether or not you're ready for it. Do you know that? And the shopping frenzy, the budget stress, even though I've talked about this already, it's all here, including family gatherings, family coming in, visiting for the holidays, and maybe for some, even those quiet moments of reflection. So yes, and who's to tell? Maybe we start looking ahead for our New Year's resolutions already. You're like, Sabrina, we're just trying to get over the bruises or just navigating traffic that's been going on today. But yes, it is another episode of Sabrina Speaks right here on this fabulous Wind Down Friday. And we try to kick it back a little bit, but there's still some unfinished conversations that I want to just wrap up, let you know what that is. But I want to also keep it on the high with the excitement and somewhat chaos of Black Friday and holiday shopping. For those of you who may have taken the flight, we got some headlines as well. Unfortunate incident happened on the ground in Tampa with our national flag carrier. Interesting. We were talking about our pride yesterday, and look at what happened. And we also want to dive in, and I get your opinions on this, on, again, how you survived the season now that it's here, with your wallet and your sanity, keeping your sanity intact. And really, for true, let's be real. It's Friday. I know there's pressures and friends, and you see all of those deals, and you're seeing every second things popping up on your phone, and videos as well in circulation on social media pages. I know it's tempting. I know it is. But I just want to get your opinion. Enjoy as we kick off into the weekend. I'm quite sure that some of these sales are going to go on into the weekend as well. And maybe for some of you, yesterday's Thanksgiving, which officially marks the festive season. If you notice, I'm kind of blinging deliberately. I'm not in red yet. I'll be bringing out my hints of red as of Monday. Yes, I'm one of those persons. I'm disgusting like that. But in today's edition as well, I also, like I said, I want to wrap up a particular section, that 35, that section, that clause 35 of the Immigration Transition Amendment Act, because I know yesterday between Denny and Mr. Balika, they were talking about 3 critical areas. But did you know, in regards to special caregivers and all that sort of stuff, there's a little bit of explanation there in layman's terms that I would love to just wind up that particular section. I will do my best to share the screen with you so that you can follow along with me to see that it's not just me talking about it, that it's legit what we're talking about here. 936-8255 is the number to call in and join in on their conversation. And I would love to get your feedback and really, honestly, hear what and how your Friday has been going, whether or not you have been taking deep breathing exercises as you navigate traffic, or are you one of those persons like who really grip the steering wheel really hard when somebody gives you a bad drive? Just how you manage to deal with road rage? Or are you just one who just wish you had one of those vehicles that were equipped with something you could just flip them over, like just get out of the way? But it's interesting. How have you navigated traffic? I heard it was mayhem in town today, and certain areas definitely got more than others. But it's interesting. It is the holidays. Suck it up, buttercups. It is the holidays. It's officially the holidays. Anyone knows me very well. They know that this is my favorite time of the year. Yes, it is my favorite time of the year. But the content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, and our participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. And I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for specific concerns. Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liabilities for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented here. And it's good to see you all piling in on this fabulous Black Friday, kicking off the festive season, because it's Friday. And I do that. But if you want to know what's happening in the weekend, and I know some parts of the island got some rain today, here is the latest weather forecast for tonight and into the weekend. The synopsis calls for a frontal system that's located across the southwest Florida that will become stationary west of the Cayman area this afternoon. As a result, there will be an increase in cloudiness with possibility of a few isolated showers that will occur alongside moderate winds and seas. Now, satellite analysis indicates that scattered patches of low-level cloud will be isolated and convection in and around this area. Now for tonight, because I know some of you start happy hour from noon. I know y'all. I'm guilty. Partly cloudy. That's tonight's forecast. Becoming cloudy at times with 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the lower 70s. Nice. Winds will be northeasterly 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Now, there was a high tide at 4:11 this afternoon, and a low is expected for 10:56 tonight. Tomorrow, the tide will have a high tide at 5:32 a.m., a low tide at 11:17, another high tide at 4:55, and then a low tomorrow night at 11:40. Sunset is expected to it's going to set at 5:44 this evening. You notice it's been getting really dark earlier. That's so you can see those beautiful Christmas lights and all those decorations. Yeah, the sunset this evening is at 5:44, and sunrise tomorrow is at 6:42. Yes, so beautiful, crisp, clean air in the morning with a nice cup of Milo. I said it, Milo. Well, the outlook over the weekend, there is the possibility for isolated showers lingering across the Northwest Caribbean through the early weekend. And on Saturday, moderate to rough seas are expected as a ridge of high pressure builds in the wake of this front across the Northwest Caribbean. A small craft advisory is expected to be issued on Saturday. So there you have it. I hope you can plan your weekend and definitely your night. And I know who's going to be celebrating or who I'm hoping is going to be celebrating this weekend and into the rest of the first week of December. Who to tell? Maybe the entire month. We got two people who are celebrating birthdays today, and we got the legend himself, the local. Hello, happy birthday to Mr. Andre Archer. That a man with a plan, you know. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Andre. I hope that you are having a blast. You have a very dry sense of humor. Love you lots. That love is not lost. I wish you many, many, many more birthdays, and I'm hoping that you had a fabulous day right there. If I miss anyone, please forgive me. But now we go overseas because we definitely got someone celebrating birthdays over there. Fort Lauderdale. Yes, we got people in Fort Miramar. Betty, happy birthday to you, my sweet. She's a huge Sabrina Speaks family over there celebrating her birthday today. And it was funny. I found a picture of her. She hates pictures. And now I got you going worldwide, Betty. I hope that you're enjoying your birthday weekend, leading from Thanksgiving weekend. And I wish you lots and lots and lots of love, and hope that you got what you wanted. And guess who is about to celebrate a birthday? I couldn't leave her out. My dear friend, Simone Morgan, is going to be celebrating her birthday on Sunday. I can see brunch somewhere turn up. Happy birthday to you, Simone, when it comes. Wishing you all the best. Many, 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 many more. Yes, yes. Lavana, really? You're celebrating a birthday tomorrow? Send me a picture, my sweet. 936-8255 so we can pick you up, girl. Send me one on WhatsApp. 936-8255, my sweet. Happy birthday to you when it comes as well. See, I glanced over. I'm glad I did. But those are all the people that I'm aware of. And thank God for Facebook. It helps. It does help. So please forgive me. But yeah, Lavana, happy birthday. Hope you're mending. Well, let's see who is here. Who's this one? Roy 12. That's all I got. It's me, Roy. Oh, hi. Hi, Roy. I know lots of Roys. Connie Bonnie, how are you? Happy Black Friday weekend as we kick off the holidays, my sweet. Miss Bonnie, how are you? Hope you're doing well. It's great. I hope you're enjoying the cool breezes. Hola, ¿qué pasó? It's good for you. Reese Parker, you hi, listening. I want you to watch too. But I prefer. I like anything. Once you're there and you're commenting, making me know you're there, I appreciate every one of you. Can you shout me out? I did, Reese Parker, before. Reese Parker. Shout outs to Reese Parker. Thank you for joining us on this Wind Down Friday here as we kick off the official holiday season. Whether you love Christmas, whether you're for it or not, it's just something different. There's just something special about the holidays when it comes to family and friends and all that good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I'm wishing you all the best, Lavana. Speedy recovery as you continue to mend after your surgery. Yep. So 54. Girl, you look good. You look good. We aging like fine wine. I'll never catch you, though. Never catch you. I'm only 51. I never catch you, Lavana. But we're doing very well. We look darn good, eh? Connie Bonner, you are more than welcome, my sweet. Yeah, 2 weeks. Just take it easy. Just take it easy, my love. We're here for you. Thoughts and prayers are genuinely out for you. And once we know, we chuckle, we laugh, even if we got hard conversations to have. The one thing you will find on the CMRTV.com platform and family, we truly enjoy, love, and appreciate all of our supporters. And it's no different than here. When you're ups and your downs, we're here with you as one family. And that's what we're all about. Donnie, hey, girlfriend, on the med, had knee replacement. Really? Oh, good God. We're not going to be able to stop you now. So help me Christ, Donnie. Oh, God. Well, I know that's pretty painful. Just do the range of motion exercises and just look at the bright side of things. You got new knee. Girl, shake a leg. I'm happy you're loving them, Connie. It's Friday. We do it different here. And I haven't had any adult beverages yet. Yeah, I'm behaving. It's the season. I'm going to be a good girl, and I can't promise that as of next week. No, oh no, I make no promises at all. Yes. Oh, good for you, Donnie. I hope everything went well. I hope everything went well. My aunt did both. Oh my God. Jesus. But yeah, she's still here with us, and she's doing a little better. But oh God, I don't think I would ever recommend anybody, teach his own, to do two at one same time. She was brave, she did it, but she's afraid of being two. So I think she just said, if I'm going to go under once, might as well just do them both. So kudos to her. You can't have any wine yet. You're still on meds. You can do a little ginger ale. Just a thought. 936-8255. 936, Lavana, 8255. Just send me, save my number in your phone and just send me a WhatsApp. 936-8255. Thank you so much. I try to do this to boost the mood. You see the background and all that. I just love doing foolishness. And you know what? Guess what? I walk to work. I walk from work. I have no traffic, so I don't have to deal with road rage. That's the good thing of working from home. I can definitely control my own mood, the energy in here, and just deliver, because we never know who's down, and it's all about the attitude, the mindset. Yeah. So at the end of the day, thank you, Lavana. Yes. So hello, good evening. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. Happy Friday. How are you? Happy holidays as well.
Yeah, happy holidays, Sabrina.
How are you?
All the best. Oh, I'm here looking at the traffic you're talking about.
Really? It's bad now.
But
But
I want to make a shameless plug
go ahead.
for Sergeant Walters
Uh-huh.
and his former Sergeant Walters,
Okay.
operates a driving school,
Yes.
and Inspector Berman Scott.
Nice.
He's such a good driver,
Uh-huh.
and he drove Her Majesty, the late Queen Elizabeth II.
That's right.
That was her chauffeur.
That's right.
And he has to drive in school. Well, I can tell you, it's some people that need to go to do those two gentlemen.
Uh-huh.
But I sit here and a bus stops in the evening to have two children.
Uh-huh.
Their parents must work in the glass house.
Right.
In the government thing. He puts on his emergency school, his flashers on top,
Uh-huh.
has the brake lights on, he turns across the road, and believe you me, people are still passing him.
Oh,
and he
wow.
blasts on at them to get them to stop. I sit right here on my sidewalk, right
Yeah,
in front
yeah.
of my list party,
Mhm.
and watch it up to this evening. And I mean, if they hit one of those children,
Yeah.
I
You're
thought
not supposed to
that just
overtake a
looked like
bus. You're not supposed to overtake a school bus or eat a passenger vehicle like that,
I mean,
period.
if he didn't have his emergency flashes on and he didn't turn crossway, it's about that 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes you can say here.
Mm-hmm.
2 going down,
Mm-hmm.
basically going east, and another one coming down in a merge lane.
Mm-hmm.
So he got like 4 lanes, and he turned crossway 2 of those lanes. When that child is coming out, those 2 children, I understand it's 2.
Right.
So 2 students coming out of that bus, they don't know whether they're coming across and going to Himalaya
Mm-hmm.
or whether they're going to the glass house.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
Suppose they just bounce out of the bus and go across there. Lick them down right there. And I mean, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
It's Christmas time. You don't want... These people obviously have not... Either they're not paying attention
Correct.
or they don't understand how Cayman laws work.
They just don't respect our traffic laws.
Yeah, those two gentlemen that I mentioned
Yes.
were traffic officers and well-versed in what's going on
Mm-hmm.
and good teachers.
Right. Yeah.
I had, I kind of think that before anybody gets a driver's license, they should have to do 2 or 3 lessons at least for them to catch up on the things because obviously some people don't know or they're highly distracted. I don't know which, Sabrina.
Mm,
Who want to sit down here one evening at 3:15 or 3:30
to observe.
see
Mm-hmm.
something go wrong?
Oh gosh. And
If
that's
the police
that's when the
stop
when
on
the
there,
when the bus that's when the bus is letting off these children. You witness that a lot.
Yeah, and they can find us when we park on the sidewalk and charge us $150 for each car parked on the sidewalk,
Mm-hmm.
which is not probably not supposed to park there. But they're not seeing what they're doing to what can actually happen to the
Yeah,
children.
yeah, the risk.
But if the ones that's on my side of the road,
Hmm.
that's the going outside, so
Yeah,
the children come out of the bus, they go round the front of the bus to go to the glass because
correct.
they're coming from Cayman National Banquet.
Right, right.
But if one of those idiots coming down, don't stop. I mean,
Yeah. Thank
you
you for
want to.
sharing that. I'm hoping that the powers that be will definitely hear this. And this has been something that we have had complaints about, with even kids congregating at the bus stop, going in the morning. And now what you're explaining is when they're being dropped off, these people are
Yeah,
not respecting our traffic laws, but it is law that you don't overtake passenger vehicles
my
like
good
school
friend.
buses.
Yeah, I go with my good friend Mr. Walton is here, and if not, I know the inspector of traffic, and
Yeah.
I'll actually call him and say something to him. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, sir. Well, thank you again for your support. Hope you're doing well. All the best of the season to you, my love.
And thank you so much, Sabrina.
All
Next
right.
time, do what I always do.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. All the best. Love you, Mr. Osgood.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
There we go. Oh, thanks, Mr. Osgood, for sharing that with us. Thank you, Lavana. We got to give you your moment, girl. Let's get you up here good and proper. Where are you? There you are. There you are. Look at you. There we go. Big shout outs to Lavana. Happy birthday, my love. Beautiful 54. If I can look like that when I get 54. Oh yeah, we good to go. That's why I'm bracing mine. I wish you all the best. Happy birthday to you. All the best to you, and for being one of our own ambassadors of our national flag carrier as well. Now that you're mending and you're at home, you're offering a phenomenal service to your community. Congratulations for that, for the vision, letting your dad's name, carrying that through. But here you are, my love. Happy birthday. May God bless you for many, many more. And like I said, if that was 54 gonna look like tomorrow, yeah, we got it, girl. We're fine wine. All the best to you. I hope that despite you on the mend, that you will enjoy your birthday, Miss Lavana. So help us. Yeah, see Connie Bonnie sharing that with you, girl. Connie Bonnie's there with you. Yes. I'm going to also go into you're more than welcome, my sweet. I'm going to this evening to finish up or the whole thing about this whole clause 35, the sellout clause. There's stuff being said there about people on special caregivers and all that sort of stuff in layman's terms. There were just some areas there that I think we just need to tidy up to lock that down, because I'm hearing as well, despite me talking about the excitement of the holidays, reality is let's end this week off and finishing that up, because there may be another section of this that we want to explore next week as the discussions continue. But this show and these discussions aren't good without your questions, your comments, and your concerns. Air them right here. Yes, we need to see them. We need to see them. We need to hear them. You can post them if you're streaming us on Facebook or you're streaming us on YouTube. Just make sure you ask your questions here. Feel free. We need to know exactly what you're thinking. Ask your questions so that we can be able to respond to them in real time. And that's only how we know whether or not you're understanding what is really being said. And we can clarify a lot of things. So yeah, as the birthday shout outs continue for Miss Lavana from Donnie. Happy birthday, girlfriend. Looking beautiful as usual. Praying for a speedy recovery. Both of you going to be praying for each other and the entire Sabrina Speaks family, for all of you. Cheryl Thompson as well saying happy birthday. Yeah, this is the spirit. Well, we've been traveling and some of you went off today to Tampa. I hope that, all is well there. Well, let me just share with you right now that in case you missed it, but our very own flag carrier, yeah? Cayman Airways passengers were currently stuck on the plane after it clipped a parked truck while pulling up to the gate in Tampa. Now, the incident happened as the aircraft was being guided in, and early reports suggest that the truck was stationary at the time. We had an update since the posting of this, and it was unofficial verdict from the crew is that the truck was not parked in the correct location. Therefore, not our pilot's fault. So we got to look if any damage or anything was sustained. Obviously, there are going to be some serious delays. And Oh my gosh, we don't need that right now in the middle of the holiday season. But again, no injuries were reported, but this situation is still being assessed. And the return flight to Grand Cayman, like I said, will definitely be delayed. And we don't know what the knock-on effects of that will be. But there you have it. That is the latest on that. And of course, keep it locked to the CMR platform for all of the latest updates and information as that. You may also have seen a headline on the CMR platform about there is H5 avian influenza found here on one of our farms. Yes, the government here in the Cayman Islands has confirmed that they have detected bird flu then. They have detected bird flu here in the Cayman Islands. It has been found on a farm, and the government is responding very quickly with contaminants, and they're also monitoring it right now. The risk to humans is low, but the situation is, as I said, being watched. So the government is really putting their focus and prioritizing the health and safety of the community, livestock, and our environment. And the government also promised to be transparent and regular updates so that the public stays informed of this. Now, the government have also provided contact numbers in that article, and that's for the Department of Agriculture, 916-7146. And what this means for us really is that the outbreak is currently limited only to animals on that one specific farm where it was actually detected, okay? So there's no immediate danger to humans at this time, but the authorities are acting as quickly as possible to stop the potential or any spreading. And people should stay alert, and we're encouraging you to follow updates and reports on this, right? So we're going to make sure that we keep you definitely up to date here as well with that. And possible impacts, maybe none, but we're going to just keep it real here with you. So again, you're encouraged to ask your questions and all of that sort of stuff as we dive into completing the sellout clause of Clause 35 of the immigration bill that is going to be tabled before the House. But I had to deal with that first for you. Now, before we go into the real technical stuff, I will have to end again at 7. Because you see where the lineup is real, and we got new content coming on at 7. So this is why I got to give you your kudos. I got to shout you out. You are the heart and soul of this. So when we got topics, which some of these topics can go for days, and this is why sometimes it may seem repetitive, but I'm getting into the practice of respecting the 2-hour lot that I have. And we're going to just try to pack it all in. So your participation is key. And we want to make sure that we keep on topic as much as we can, but also cover whatever is promised. Again, the good thing about these spaces is that we can always come back to topics, but that depends on your questions, your concerns, and we got to keep you abreast with really what's happening. So you may not think that the excitement and all of the traffic, as Mr. Osgood was referring to, I know people were complaining or making statements about it today, how crazy the roads were and how crowded the stores were, long lines and all, just trying to grab it up on all of those deals. But you know what I don't understand? Please forgive me, with the exception of persons helping their families being affected by Melissa. Do TVs have expiry dates? It's like every Black Friday. What's the mayhem with TVs? I've had TVs for years, and yeah, they're smart. I don't have no lines. Is there something with Black Friday and TVs? Why they are just selling like crazy? I just don't know. Tell me, am I missing something? Or is it just the experience of just going in all of those and just getting all up in this chaos? But it's people just spend on this day, I think, just for the excitement. It's different if you're going away, never experienced it, like your bucket list, maybe to Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade or New Year's in Times Square, like something like that. But I am just trying to wrap my head around Black Friday and buying TVs. If you're already got your home, your TV's working fine. Maybe you want to go a little bigger. I don't know, but just am I missing something? Maybe you're buying gifts, that sort of stuff, or early. But do you need to be in all of that mayhem for gifts? I may be missing something, but I don't know. For me, I get confused when there's just so much chaos and like lining up in a line for 6, 8 hours to be one of the first in a store. I'm not gonna do that here, and I definitely ain't gonna do it overseas. But that's just me. Some people may love it. My bucket list is going someplace else, doing an experience, Anchorage, Alaska, something like that. Going somewhere Europe, going on a wine tasting tour. That you can do, but to rush for a TV, not my way of spending a Black Friday. I have other exciting ways I think I could spend my Black Fridays. Yeah, that's just me. Lavana says, OMG, this is what I'm saying too. Every year it's the same sales and the main focus is on TVs. Lavana, I just don't understand it. Like one of those nice kitchen aids, the blenders and stuff that really looks cool on your countertop. I can understand me doing that, but the difference in savings for fighting to get an item off the shelf versus paying maybe $10, $15 more, to me, at my own pace, I would prefer to pay the 10 or 15 bucks more. Because when you really look at some of the sales, it's not worth being trampled on, in my humble opinion. This is why, if it is the height of just being in all of that mayhem, good for you. That's your adventure. That's what you find adventure in. I go to a theme park to get my thrills, and there are other things that I could do to get my thrills, but it's definitely not fighting for appliances or home theater systems. I'm sorry. That's not my way of dealing with things. Me too. I've never done it and don't intend to either. It's just not me. I've been away for a number of Thanksgiving, to be honest to Grace. I've been away for a number of Thanksgiving, and I've never caught myself leaving home the wee hours to go in that. I have left my hotel 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, but I ain't going no shopping. I go into some club. I'm going to something, but it ain't, yeah. Like 1, 2 o'clock, 12, when you're supposed to be coming in, you're going out. That's what going away is, and doing different things. That's life. That's living it. But not to shop with TVs. I swear, they must have an expiry date. Why every year? Yeah, it's the same thing. But that's just a little fun. That's what we're all about here on Sabrina Speaks. Little chuckle here and there. Make your mind wonder. Well, I would wonder how she would be when she go away. Gotta leave a little bit for the imagination. But for all of you, you notice how we're scamming people and how much credit and debit cards Sandra has been posting, saying call her, get in contact with her for your debit credit cards. Please, 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 please. I went on to my online profile today with CMB, and I tightened up my my security features so that if anything happens, that my card now, once it runs for something, that I've lowered my transactional amount. So even if it's $50, I'm going to be notified just in case. I've lowered my swipe limits and all that sort of stuff. Just to help me during this time, because things can happen. You go out, you're all excited, you're seeing friends that you haven't seen before, you're talking and you're thinking you're taking the receipt and all that sort of stuff. Or no, me, I fast. I may see somebody I haven't seen in a while. Hi, how you doing? You good? And not realizing, you thinking you push your debit or credit card in your holder or whatever, and it just didn't happen. Or God forbid, it's got taken away from you. So I did that as a security tip for myself. I went on this morning to CMB and I changed all of those settings on my online banking. So that gives me some form of security there. So anything like over $50 right now, yeah, I will get a signal. And if I know I'm not running it, then who is running it? So yeah, But I would encourage my people, please, we don't want January to roll in and you can't pay your late bill, or you got to be one of the first ones in the first quarter of 2026 after you've made all of these beautiful New Year's resolution, and you're asking for an extension on your utility bill because you just overspend during the holidays. Yeah, we want to try to avoid these impulsive buying, and really just have real talks with family members if this is one Christmas where you can really just prefer to go out and hang instead of looking for gifts. Or maybe you're doing something from a charitable perspective. We know that many people are hurting right here at home, and if you have extended family or friends abroad and you want to help them out for this holiday season, yeah. But I wouldn't really, with how everybody is feeling something right now, I would care to say, just watch your pennies. We're all going to be subjected to some way, somehow, these inflated costs that's going to hit us sooner or later. And either us or our partners that are not Caymanians yet, yeah, they're going to be paying $600 driver's license. So somewhere, somehow, we're going to get hit with these things, but our country has to run. We got to make money, right? And it is the reality. Connie Bonnie, what do you say? Mine's expire. It gets smaller. That's your TV. I would think they would be going the other direction, Connie, getting bigger. I kept 25 max on mine. Oh, you mean yes. Okay. 25 max on your card. I top up as I go. Yeah, well, I do have an expenditure account where I only, if I know I'm going to go grocery shopping and I have an idea that it's only there, or like on the weekends or that sort of stuff. So yeah, but I think that's wise that you don't link your debit card to your savings account. That's not wise. Even if it's a savings account, you put your debit card to an account where you know you run through all of your bills, any transfers to anybody, third-party payments for bills or expenses, or fast food joints. Oh my God. I know CNB might be sick. Burger King, her kitchen. No shame in my game. Shameless plug for them. But yeah, because one of those are my transactional accounts. So yeah, but you don't attach a debit card, God forbid, to any account that has the larger, if you're fortunate enough to have a decent little balance nowadays. But always have one account where you do all of your expenses out of, even if you have staff or somebody that you pay religiously, like your gardeners, your helper, that sort of stuff. Just do all of those transactions out of one account. Therefore, once it's down and it's in a minimal, if somebody hits you, they're not going with everything. Yeah. But we are also finding that some people really get stressed out over this time of the year as well, with family that they're not accustomed to having into their space for an extended period of time. You're already stressed out over the holidays as well. And we know how that go. Just for a little 2 weeks or 3 weeks that your house is just no longer yours. And late nights talking and catching up. And then you're cooking and you're maybe taking them out. That in itself can bring some stress and strain a little bit if you're not mentally prepared. And remember now, if you're not fortunate enough to take the whole holidays off, and you still have to go to work, some people may actually feel the pressures. Like for some of you who are recovering from surgery, you're accustomed to doing your own thing, and you're limited because of that. You're going to be probably asking a lot more people now, like Donnie, going out shopping, that sort of stuff. Go get this for me. Can you get this? They may not pick up the right thing because I know how particular you are. Those things may bring unnecessary stress on you. So you know what? Deal with you. People will understand that you're recovering from surgery, and they shouldn't expect the normal Levana, the normal Donnie. No, they couldn't. You just enjoy recovery, recover, and look forward to 2026. But self-care is key. You guys have to rest. And this is for anyone, whether or not you're recovering from surgery. Set your boundaries. And honestly, just give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. And sometimes the best gift is 5 minutes of peace and quiet for yourself. Hear them little things in your head talk. all of those persons, but don't act, because sometimes, oh God, they can talk some foolishness, and boy, some foolishness can go through your head, whether or not you're on pain meds. Hi, Miss Lucille from the UK. Good evening to you. You look more beautiful than your Christmas tree. Oh, thank you so much. Lots of blessings. Stay safe. You're all love always. Thank God my car only carry 2 wheels. You're something else, Miss Lucille. All the best for you, to you as well, as we kick off the holiday season. What is Tartarian saying? How are you, my sweet? I would like us Caymanians to come together, all 40,000 of us, and by $12 equals 480,000, which could buy a needy Caymanian family a home for Christmas. I would love to organize that if I had the means, Tartarian. Now that, my friend, would be epic. You did the math, Tartarian. $12 pledge to try and raise $480, that for Christmas we could say, here, Merry Christmas. This is your home. Oh my God. That would be epic, Tartarian. Why not? Do you know a property that is 480,000 that doesn't need a whole heap of repairs or cleanup or da 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 da? And I would love to do that. That would be epic. Epic, epic. I don't see why that is not possible when you saw what Sandra did on her show for Nolly. And you see what that means and what that could do. So yes, Tartarian, we can probably look into that. For Christmas, we would have pretty much 3 weeks. 3 weeks to get $480,000. Anyone who wants to do $12 a pledge, or whoever wants to do more. And yeah, why not? Let's put it out there. Let's put it out there. We can probably roll that out on Monday. Let's see what we can do. Tartarian, I love this idea. Give me a thumbs up if you all like this comment. And there's a reason why it's, Melita says, let's do it. There we go. Let's do it. So I would have to definitely sort out the holding account and all that sort of stuff for where this funds can be handled. And we can definitely do it there, because 100% of this proceeds will go forward for this process. So give me the weekend to sort this out. But yes, let's do it. Yep. Your feedback is key. And I've deliberately put this message up there. How are you, Miss Melita? Hey, Sonia. Happy holidays to you. I'm going to do what we did last year. My daughter said, Mommy, let's just cook and have, a great time together. No gifts. And that's exactly what we did. I don't have any babies, so this worked out beautiful, beautiful. Lavonna, I love those, to be honest. I love those. Yeah. So yeah, what do you think about this idea posed by Tartarian? Let's see if we can make a lovely Caymanian family, one happy, happy family this Christmas season. And if each one gives $12, let's see if we can raise $480,000 for some needy family. There we go. Yeah. What do you think? Think we can do it? Think we can do it? Let's try it. Good evening, caller. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
Good evening, Sabrina. A lot on my mind, but not in terms of worries, but more things to say.
Oh Lord, yep.
Well, a couple of things. I mean, I'd like to address that issue relating to subsection 2 to 9, the whole transitional provisions relating to the immigration. Although I don't have too much to say about that, but before I get to that, I listened to you and Denny yesterday talk about. Again, Danny mentioned the issue, which bears repeating in my view, which is that it is important that status and PR be not granted in such a way as to outstrip the net birth rate among Caymanians as of right. I find that to be a very simple idea. I mean, he has always said that look, if you have a net birth rate of in Cayman of, well, let me back up what it means by net birth rate. In 1 year, let us imagine in 2024, you had 1,000 births among Caymanians as of right, 1,000. And then the death rate, like people who died, let us imagine, are 300. Okay? So it means that there has been a net gain in the population among indigenous Caymanians as of right of 700.
700.
Okay? Now, yeah, so what you want to do is say, okay, we don't want to grant status more than 700 people, because then we'll continue being a minority. So you would want to establish a percentage. You'll say, okay, fine. If the net birth rate among us was 700, so we shouldn't give. Let us imagine you say we will only give 50% of that. So in other words, if the net growth of the population was 700 among Caymanians, then you won't give more than 300 for this year.
Right.
So that way you are gaining. Now, there are some people who feel that the percentage should be lower than that, maybe 25%, but that's a detail which can be discussed. And to me, if you do that, then you are addressing the issue. Now, the thing that I didn't mention yesterday, and I think it is worth mentioning, you see, if I remember correctly, Danny Warren Jr. I first heard that from him in 2017 when he ran for a constituency, Georgetown. I think it was Georgetown West. That's when I first heard him say it on the debate stage, and I said, "Oh, I think this is a very good idea." Now, what I would like to say is, first of all, in Cayman, what do you want? You want people with a vision, don't you want people with a vision? Yes. People who can look at an issue and say, okay, this one might look simple now, but it is very complicated. We need to address it in this way to ensure that 10, 15 years down the road, it doesn't cause us a problem. And I think if those are the sorts of people that Cayman wants, and I think that those are the people Cayman wants, then Warren has to go to be among those people with a vision. Because he mentioned this in 2017 when, as much as immigration has always been an issue in Cayman, but I don't think in 2017 it was such a huge issue. But it is always there in every election. But he was ignored. Of course, he didn't get elected, but I don't think that's the important thing. The important thing is that the idea went out there and the politicians were aware of it. And the question I ask today is, where would Cayman have been today if government had listened at that time in 2017 and started to work on this program to ensure that the new grants are not outstripping the net birth rate?
Right.
If they had listened, it is quite possible that today, in fact, highly likely, that today we might not be in this position where Caymanians have become a minority. Why? Because you would have been addressing the issue from 2017, and every year you would have been checking to say, okay, are we going up or down as a proportion of the population? The chances that every year you would see a certain trend, like if you see the trend, we're going down, then you make adjustments for the following year. Like if you want to bring the percentage from 50 to 30 or 25, and then it would have been worked from year to year. And this is how many years now? 2017, and now is 5, about 8 years or so.
Yes.
To me, I think it would have been much easier to manage. And what is really discouraging to me is that it was ignored in 2017. It was ignored in the election that took place 4 years after that. And then the one after that is the one which took place this year. And clearly this government also is ignoring it. So you are talking about 3 governments which have ignored an idea that would have avoided this alarming situation that Cayman today finds itself in. So I just thought I should give that plug to Danny Warren Jr. because, frankly, that is something that it should still be looked at today. The other thing is he said something yesterday, if I remember correctly, about like basically urging the government to say, hey, government, please give us time, more time to talk about this issue. He also urged, if I remember correctly,
Yes.
he urged the members of the public to say, hey, can you speak to your MPs to see if this matter can be dealt with?
Correct.
And I think that's the really attitude and the things that need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very disheartening to find that, I mean, look, I'm very encouraged by the way some of your audience react. They want to learn. They also want to share their own views, and they want to learn from others. We are all trying to learn from each other, and think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's just not enough of that.
Mm-hmm.
And this brings me now to the next issue. Well, let me talk about the subsection before I go to the other issue. You see, this, if when you look at those subsections, subsection 2 to 9 of the new section 83 uppercase A, which is in clause 35, it is totally confusing. I'm looking at it right now. Let's go to 2, for example. I want to read it to subject to subsection 3, where any permit, certificate, visa, permission, exemption is issued under the Principal Act, and it is
Mm-hmm.
repealed under the 2015 revision. And then it talks about, basically it says those permits and certificates and exemptions shall continue in force until the expiration.
Right.
Let me ask you, do you know what these are?
The whole visas. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, what are these? Are they relevant only to employment, or are they relevant to the computation of the period of residency for purposes of PR and status? I mean, what are these?
It is very vague. Like I said, we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You see, this is the thing, because what they have done is, okay, when I read this, and then I said, no, it's not making sense to me. I went to the memorandum of objects and reasons, which is where they are supposed to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And this is at page 10 or 11 thereabouts. All it says is that clause 35 introduces a new section 83A,
Mm-hmm.
which contains transitional provisions, period. It doesn't tell you what the transitional provisions are supposed to achieve. You see, it doesn't help to just say this is dealt with in that section, and then when you go to that section, you find it is so convoluted,
Mm-hmm.
you do not know what it's supposed to do.
Right.
For example, what is supposed to do is certificates to do this, visas to do this, permission, and so on and so forth, and exemption. And these people hold these for usually for a year or two or whatever. You explain what is on the ground. And then you go to the next step then to explain that under the new law, those permits will continue. And then you explain how that will be relevant to either to the PR issue or the employment issue. To me, that's what you're supposed to do. The explanatory memorandum hasn't explained anything. Then the other thing that I'm asking a question about is when they say that okay, they talk about visas and permission or exemptions issued under the Principal Act.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they are talking about these prospective exemptions that they want to give, because remember they did say that they plan to exempt certain groups. Now, subsection 2
Mm-hmm.
deals with, it says repeat permit. Okay, that is a generalized one. And then subsection 3, they talk about people employed in the Health Services Authority or UCCI.
Correct.
Yeah, and then they say in those cases there will be some transitional provisions, and they mention actually they mention so many acts in there. And then they go to 4.
But what I
They
got,
say, well, section 10.
what I got
Mhm.
is that when they talk about Health Services Authority and a university college, is that if these workers are already have, let's say, any form of approval or immigration approval or exemption, that when this new law takes effect, that permission will remain valid. Okay. And that it will, and then let's say some of them, for 1 year later. You understand what I'm saying? That it will stay valid until 1 year later, until later, for two possible dates, either when their contract or work permit ends or 1 year after the new law officially starts. So whichever gives them more time, be it their contractual length or the 1 year grace period, is what will apply. That was my interpretation of it. So anybody, workers from a Health Services Authority, university, college, pretty much they're trying to say, don't worry, your immigration status will not expire immediately once this actually takes effect. That it actually guarantees what they're trying to say, that they're guaranteed at least 1 full year of protection so that their contracts can run longer. And for them to sort out their affairs, if they want to apply for PR or whatever it is that they're next to eligible for, that they can, or they work out until their last contract ends. So that was my interpretation from it.
Okay.
So this somewhat provides them job security, really, but also stability as well.
Now, you may well be right. The way I'm hearing you, it appears that you are right in saying that. But do people out there understand that?
But this is why we're discussing it now. Remember, I didn't go gung-ho to explain this immediately for a number of reasons, even though Danny kind of gave me a little lashing, understanding my background. But it didn't make sense for me now being on this side of the fence without the regulations, because you know how powerful the regulations are. How would I be able to dissect this with, you heard how some of these town hall meetings were actually conducted anyhow. You were limited with what information you were given. So for example, with the exemptions, we know that there's going to be a shortfall in doctors and nurses and teachers, in prison workers. There's going to be a shortfall even in some of our police officers, right? So when you look at this reassurance that they're actually given with this almost 1 year, or when their contract is about to expire, nothing will change. Staff won't face sudden disruptions, and it won't actually shake the foundation in certain key areas where, their legal status will change immediately because of this law coming into effect. And then that year, therefore, then yields continuity, ensuring then that the Cayman Islands maintains that level of services as it pertains to education with our teachers, national security with our prison guards or RCIPs, our healthcare, and it won't destabilize our jurisdiction. That's what I'm getting from it.
Yes, and in any situation, like, I can understand that. You do not want that as soon as it comes into effect and so on, suddenly they are chopped off. But I just don't think it is very clear. For something that you expect to go to members of the public to help them understand how it works, it is just not clear. That's why, again, I don't want to go into the white paper. They should have done a green paper and a white paper. But even without doing a green paper and a white paper, they should have explained it in the memorandum of objects and reasons. There is no point saying Section 35 is going to give you the transitional provisions when those transitional provisions are really complicated. If they are real complicated, then you have to say this is what is on the ground, and this is what we are trying to do and what we are trying to do it, why we are trying to do it. The other thing that I find interesting is they talk about exemptions as well. They talk about the visas and so. But when they say exemptions, I'm not quite sure whether they are talking about exemptions which are like prospective exemptions which will be made under the regulations.
Maybe there
You
may
see?
well
Because
that too, but there may be some exemptions that were granted. Let's say, let's go far afield by cabinet. That based on
yeah.
the verbiage of this, that would automatically repeal those decisions, because we notice even with special caregivers now, that had been renewed for a renewal period of an additional 5 years, totaling 10 plus 1, 11. But then some conditions with those were that they were not able to still be able to apply for permanent tenure.
Yeah.
That's a
I
special
remember that.
caregiver.
Yeah.
What does that say for some domestic helpers that are probably caring for elderly persons or have been staples in households for a period of time as well? Some people are saying that should have possibly been extended or given the option, even if it was half the time, to long-serving domestic helpers who find themselves not with a special caregiver, but taking care of an aged person or someone with special needs, whatever. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pretty much
And
combining
this
it.
was, yeah, because way back there was a thing that said that the specialist caregivers could not apply for PR or something.
No, they can't. And that
They can't
even,
apply.
right. And even now that they have allowed them to do an extension of one more 5-year term, those usually don't allow them to apply for PR. What was actually posing a problem was that special caregivers were not allowed to have their partners, dependents. And right to family life came a big question. And remember, it couldn't have been transferable. So they keep, I wouldn't say watered down, because some of the cases are legitimate, but not all of the cases, as you keep watering things down, is really what the law was intended for. But then who is man to say how long somebody's going to live for when you find yourself that it was only valid to the life of that employer or the person that they're caring for, and then it was non-transferable. You understand? Who is man? That one is really hard to judge, to be in all honesty, and that has become very emotive.
Yeah, because in addition to just the understanding of the transitional provisions, there's the fundamental issue as to why really they were excluded. Because look, Cayman is such a small place, and I understand the sensitivity of the government to protect the people locally. But it rubs me very tough when you say, if you've got money and you've got a high job, you can apply for PR. But even if you are law abiding and you are hardworking, but if you are a lower class caregiver,
the
then
struggle is real. It's even more harder.
We want, it's. I mean, look, and I'm not mentioning this to be critical of it, like in a very strong way, because I know that Cayman is a small place. People today sometimes even say, well, this place is going to sink, if you keep bringing people in and so on. But of course, they're trying to do it in a humorous way, but it's a serious point. But at the end of the day, Sabrina, it seems to me, not it seems to me, it is clear to me they have to explain a lot of this. I don't even think that, frankly, they can sufficiently do so
in the short time,
in the memorandum of objects, in the short
but
time.
But it's the short time, I think, that people are saying, because more and more that we dig into this, we're unearthing a lot more things that require, as you've highlighted, more explanation is required.
More is required, because really, and then, to be frank with you, again, and I think you've already mentioned that, in the public meetings, they didn't go into these details.
No, you don't ask the questions. We don't explain. You don't ask it's just like the opposition asking questions. You don't ask it. We don't explain. That's not fair either.
It's not really fair. But anyway, I mean, to me, I think really it should go down to, I think there's time, there's need for this to be postponed. I know they've set it down for debate, I think, on on the 10th of December.
Yes.
But I hope that they can listen to the public and just not just extend the time, but be able to provide some better written explanation as to what they are trying to do. Maybe they don't have enough time to explain each and every clause, but there are certain burning issues here. The main one, which I think are these transitional provisions, and they need to address all these other issues about, the numbers. I would have wanted to know, for example, how many status grants they have given and PR in the first 3 quarters of this year. It would be very interesting to see
That's
that.
been one of the questions that Denny has been asking as well. Now, let's hope that
Yeah.
at the end of the day, which, as you said, between now and the 10th, what kind of public discussions could you have that you would actually meet the masses to convince them that they're being fully transparent with all the questions that are coming up? Maybe there's another side of Cayman as well, caller, that is quite satisfied that we're actually making a step of some sort, but not understanding these transitional clause. Are they really meeting what you have asked for? Because if you see it, as Danny, I think, said yesterday, or you're not going to see this for 9 years.
Yeah. We won't see this for 9 years.
So you're not going to get an immediate effect of this, even if it goes in as is. You're not going to see the impacts of this law for 9 years, because all of these people that are already in the pipeline is saved by these transitional clause.
Exactly. And you may even have a higher rate of grant of PR and status within the next 9 years.
Correct.
Before it starts to go down.
Correct.
It may even continue to going
upward
up, because remember that the population has been increasing.
Correct.
Okay.
But with
And so
who?
if the
Not our
population
own. Not with our own is what Denny is saying.
The artificial increase of population from outside. So what does it mean? That increase of population from people from the outside, what it will do is it increases the number of people who are eligible each single year to apply for PR and status. And it's almost predictable that it will increase, okay, before it starts going down. And even the going down is more like an assumption, because you
Correct.
see, I'll tell you the other thing which is very interesting. You see these things, like between now and the 9 years, you don't know what's going to happen in the middle of this. For example, you can put this into force.
Exactly.
And you start implementing it, and new government comes into force. They will say, oh, I think that 9-year period, I think let's abridge it. You see, I think a lot of people are suffering, let's abridge it. So long as something just remains undone for 9 years, I mean, there will be people always, a new government which will come in and may change the policies, but at the end of the day, they have to they have to deal with it. But there's another thing I was going to think, but I'll just touch the beginning of it. You know what? I had a very good OC on his show mentioned that Mr. Arden McLean, Mr. Arden McLean was giving a talk to the newly elected MPs. And he recommended to them, this is a few weeks ago, OC mentioned that he recommended to them a number of works. I think this, of course, the standing orders and one other book. I think it was Eskin, but I'm not quite sure. But the third book that he recommended was my book on the legislative process. And I was very surprised that actually he did that, because I know that he did read it, because about 8 years ago we ran into each other near about a bank, and then he told me that he liked my book and so on and so forth. And the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to him, because I haven't received, you don't ask for universal support. I have not received support from all quarters regarding the book. Not the quality of it, but just there have been people who have been in government who wanted actually to suppress it. Okay? So I was really grateful that I should give a shout out to this Caymanian who said, look, you came to Cayman, you put together this book to assist people in government on how legislation is done, and therefore I will go to my fellow MPs or the MPs and let them know that, you see, this is something that will be very, very useful. But you know what is the paradox, though, in that is that while I appreciated that, and by the way, the Attorney General Samuel Belvin is the one who wrote the foreword for the book and said some very kind things about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the paradox is that there were people within government, I won't say where, who really didn't like the book going out there. And that book, to tell you the very truth, will be very useful right now for anybody who wants to look into
Is it because
the
it's too
immigration issues and so
educational?
on.
Is it because it's too educational?
Well, I think because it's too educational, and I wrote it. I know what you meant by that. You see, I wrote it not for lawyers or for legal drafters. I wrote it
For the
in a
common man.
style for the common person to be able to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I was told by the head of legislative drafting, then I won't call the name, actually told the Attorney General that since this book says that it's a handbook for public officials, I want it to be made very clear that nothing that it says in the book is to be done in my office. Okay?
Uh-huh.
You see, that's the practically somebody in the office saying, I don't want this to be considered in the office to in any way influence what happens in the office.
Right.
Now, that is exactly what the problem is. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what the problem is in Cayman. And the reason they want to keep people ignorant is because when we are talking about immigration, they want people to be ignorant. But that's not what you want. If people, for example, are going to do what Denny has been asking for, that you guys engage the MPs, let the MPs also engage us, it will be a better engagement if people understand all those things.
And then there'll
Okay,
be
but
less crap being spoken communities amongst people that when they actually have conversations, the conversation will be born on facts, because you're not only seeing it from your own personal perspective, but you also have been armed with the operational side of things. Do you know what advantage that gives when you then have to, let's say, file an application, going back to a specific application? If people are well educated, informed, understanding what they're doing, what the process is like, you will probably get less crappy applications, therefore making the whole processing much faster. Because right now we're seeing the backlogs. There are people right now waiting. I'm understanding. I got a message, asked me if I know what the delay is in the processing of trade and business applications. I really couldn't answer it. And there's a possibility that a transaction may actually fall through the cracks because they don't have a valid trade and business. I was only able to inform that person to reach out to the director, because no one should be disenfranchised from a transaction that it's not that you can go to another service provider because government is the only one that's offering that service. If they are not moving at a pace that is actually blocking transaction, messing up operations, this is something that you don't have a choice. It's not that you can go to another service provider for a trade and business license.
Government is government.
Exactly.
And you see, this is the problem. It brings me really to the issue of how sometimes as Caymanians tend to shoot themselves in the foot. Okay? A lot of times when I was in government, for example, I suggested to government, I said, you know what, one of the problems why a lot of these departments sometimes are not as efficient as they are is that you don't have like a real handbook to guide people on how to deal with the public. Because if the public have got a good handbook and don't just have to always go to the legislation, but have got something which summarizes how you are supposed to deal with government, that helps. And then the government also will be guided by those. Now, I'm not saying they don't exist. Those kinds of books don't exist, but they do exist, but they are really very limited. And then once you put them in place, you have to train people on how they operate. Because I being a lawyer most of all my life, I learned management only through practice and not studying in a classroom. But one time I was in a seminar way back in the BVI about 20 years ago, and this guy was from Trinidad. He said, you know what? One of the things that people don't seem to understand sometimes is that you can't just, first of all, you need guidance in the offices. You need a manual to help you. But on top of that, don't just put it in a manual and forget it, because everybody will not really have a real knowledge of it. What you do is have some seminars, some refresher courses, so that you see people can understand what happens in there. I can tell you, Sabrina, when I was in legislative drafting, I said, look, you do not have in Cayman a book on the legislative process, which will assist you to be guided, and the book on the legislative process is normally prepared to guide not just the regular civil servant,
right,
but also to guide the legislators, as well as to guide the people who write legislation. I offered to write that legislation handbook. I was told, no, you can't do that. Okay, I was told you can't do that. When we went, I was partnered with a Caymanian as of right. From a very well-known family in the public service and so forth. And what she did was she went, for example, to Parliament and spoke to somebody in Parliament and said, look, this is like now about 7 years ago. She went to Parliament and said, you know, we have somebody who has just left the legislative drafting department, Mr. So-and-so, meaning me. We want to assist your staff to be able to train them, and so that they can become more efficient. You know what the Caymanian in who works in Parliament said, no, we can't give you an opportunity to do that because you have to speak to the Attorney General. Now, having left the Attorney General's office, that was just another way of saying it's not going to happen.
right.
But do you see what the problem is? Why does this Caymanian, who runs an institution of government where they are in charge, why do they have to go to the Attorney General to get permission? You think the Attorney General is going to tell you some of the secrets of what he does so that tomorrow you can challenge him? He is not going to do that. Then 2 elections ago, one MP got elected. He heard me on radio and we talked, and we went for lunch together, and he told me, he said, you know what, I want to find out from government whether we can get training from you on issues which will help us with our parliamentary work. And he wrote to a certain authority. Let me leave out the ranks. A certain key authority in government, a certain key authority, to say, can we provide for training? We've got somebody who can train us in this area. That authority just was not interested. After a long time, the MP started to learn how the system works. He said, I just found there was nobody who was ready to authorize that this training be carried out. Because at one point, I even told them, I'll do you 2 or 3 courses for free and you can pay later on. Even that, they did not want to do that. Why? Because there are certain people in government and outside who, as you said earlier on, they think it will be too educational. And one thing that I was really disappointed about was...
You're not supposed to figure it out, the operation. You're not supposed to figure it out. And that comes in different sectors. Sectors as in members of civil society. And it also has its limitations with the elected arm of government. You're not supposed to figure it out. And anyone who gets close to cracking the code or get an idea of how things really are, then you become a problem.
You become a problem. And then you see, in fact, when I was in government, I was not seeking to make money out of the courses because I designed them going back to 2009, 2010, and so on. I just offered to say, you see, because this is how I got the inspiration to write the book. Once I did the book, and then I said, okay, let me see if I can design a couple of courses. And when I was in Hong Kong for a Commonwealth Association of Legislative Council meeting, I spoke to the head of legislative drafting in Australia. And I said, you see, I know that in your office you do have some courses which you help people to learn how to work in the legislative process. Can you give me some of your documents? He said, okay, I'll send you some. So he sent them to me. I looked at them. I liked them, but I designed it to a point where this was like for Cayman. And at that point, I offered to teach it in government without remuneration because I was a civil servant. But I was fought from within the government. The chief officers approved it. They said they wanted it to be done. But when it went to the higher authorities, they said, no, it's not going to be done. I really was so frustrated. So I asked if government would give me permission to teach the courses
No,
part-time
they
with
will
this
not.
Caymanian company.
No, they would not.
Yeah.
Why
They
would
refused.
they?
They refused. In fact, I was so frustrated then, Sabrina. I went to court because now I was really fed up with that and other things. They hired a lawyer and paid him $80,000 to come and fight me so that I'm not given permission to go and teach this privately. And yet, I cited to the Civil Service Appeals Commission people who were being authorized to even run businesses, to work in a motor shop and this and that, but they couldn't give me permission to teach outside working hours. In fact, I remember one time there was a Canadian lady who was in what was then the FOI information unit.
Freedom of information.
Yeah, freedom of information, when it was still a small unit before it became the big institution it is today. This Canadian lady said, "Oh, you are from the AG's chambers. We would like to see if you can come to us and speak to us on certain legal issues relevant to our matter and so forth." And they knew that I had been involved in preparing also the FOI law and so forth. I went to my head of department and I said, there's been this request. She just said, no, we are not going to do that. Okay. So what people need to fight for, therefore, they need to fight, as Danny has been saying, they need to fight to ensure that they are consulted. But they need to fight as well to ensure that the government, if you are a civil servant, insist on being trained into certain things. In the Cayman Islands, the one big course that I taught on the legislative process was only one class. I taught my legislative process course in St. Kitts and Nevis once, and then I taught it in Cayman 3 times. But of those 3 times, the one which was the biggest was a group of about 20 or 25. I don't like 25, but planning wanted more people to attend. And I conducted it actually at the government administration building at the ground floor conference room, morning and afternoon. And I got some nice pictures which went with it. But it was only one department. Andrew Jones is the one who offered us a small contract to teach just for that one day. All the other chief officers didn't. We appealed to all of them. None of them wanted their people to be trained.
Can I ask a question?
And I think that is, yeah.
You think maybe if you educate the masses and change your trajectory, I know it was designed for certain sectors of people, but because we constantly use this line, there's power in numbers. There's strength in the people. The people are more powerful than they know. Don't you think you need to change your model then to offer this publicly to regular everyday citizens? And if they're armed with it, then they can actually make more sound and informed decisions when it comes to our future leaders. And when they hear crap being spoken, they'd be able to identify instead of tearing down one another. I think maybe you really need to look, and I know we've digressed a little bit. You probably need to change your model. You probably need to change your model just a tad bit. And guess what? When you educate the common man, you can't fool the masses anymore. Because when you look at the percentage of who you were gearing or hoping to have taken advantage of your course, and you look then at the wider member of civil society and private organizations, because they're HR people in there, they're big partners that I'm quite sure would love to understand. Look here, that number is bigger than who you were thinking of attracting. That has pretty much slammed doors in your face.
Well, Sabrina, all that we tried it because, and I'll tell you what we did. when it failed with government and to get permission and all that, and then I left government, we actually advertised them publicly. Okay, they were actually advertised on Cayman News Service. We also sent out a bunch of emails and so forth to ask members of the public, including civil servants who wanted to. The response was not very good, I can tell you.
Can I tell you this much? Bojangles did not last.
Mhm.
Taco Bell did not last. Tony Romer's
Mhm.
didn't last because, and even Olive Garden didn't last for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't your time because people didn't
Yeah.
know. You see where I'm going? Rewind and come again, but adjust your sales accordingly and you would be surprised.
Well, I thank you for that encouragement. Because, as you say, in fact, you remind me of a story. One time, this lady, she runs a very, it's not like Olive Garden kind of big franchise, but a business. It was a trucking business and moving business, and she was saying, you know what? They tried it 5, 6, 7 times, and they put money in it. And finally, they were starting to have a difference between her and her husband, because I think the husband said, well, let's try it one more time. The wife said, no, I think we've spent enough things, enough money, let's do something else. Then they moved, I think, to Miami, and they tried it, and it caught fire. Okay, it caught fire. So, I mean, there are other things that I've done. I've also tried to sell it actually into in the region as well, and so forth. But as you say, it is something that can be done maybe again. So we'll see, because I'm really disappointed, because I spent a lot of time to design these courses specifically for the Cayman Islands, and
It's all in the development process. Colonel Saunders didn't get it at the right time either.
Oh yes, and then what happened after that?
There you go. Bang.
We started eating KFC.
There we
started eating KFC.
So don't be
until
disappointed.
the health.
Don't be
Well,
disappointed.
but thanks very much. I'm sorry we digress, but I think it is, in a sense, it comes within the broader discussion, because you can't ask people to say,
understand this if they don't have the fundamentals. You don't have the fundamentals.
You don't have the fundamentals to be able to question. And so I was also quite gratified, because when OC mentioned that Mr. McLean had recommended my book, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan and Honorable Roy Tatum were actually in the studio, and they acknowledged to say, oh yes, it was recommended to us, and so on. So that's always very nice.
So that's why I tell you, Bojangles didn't last, Tony Romer's didn't last, Taco Bell didn't last. Look, because it wasn't their time.
It was the other thing I'm trying to do, because I'm trying to have them done online on like a YouTube channel and so forth, but that takes a lot of organization. I can't do that now, because I'm in the middle of writing a book called Statutory Interpretation in the Commonwealth Caribbean. I think I'm like more than halfway through, like I'm 2/3 of the way through. So right now it's like 700 plus pages.
All right.
So once I finish that, which is what I expect, I hope will be some kind of legacy of mine, then coming into maybe mid next year, whether or not certain things are working in Cayman, I will want to go online and be able to do a channel where I can talk about these legislative issues, but also talk about just some things in Cayman which are of interesting legal interest.
Well, the sky's the limit.
Let me leave you.
The sky's the limit.
It is a limit. Let's use the new technology to be able to try other ways of doing the same things. Yeah,
there we go.
Well, thanks very much,
Thank
Sabrina.
you.
We will keep listening to you until the end. I like to listen to you up to the end, just in case you say something particularly interesting.
And then you'll call back. Yeah, you brute you. But thank you so much. Appreciate it, sir.
You take care.
See, somebody says, Tartaria, Mr. Balika said, people are awakened now, plus technology these days will help a lot. So see, adjust your sales accordingly. The environment has changed. People are hungry for knowledge. You can reach the masses. Sir, when I look at the amount of people that are reaching out to me just by doing this podcast, I didn't limit myself to 3, 4, 5. even though a lot of the subjects is here in the Cayman Islands. But if you know people from all over the world, it's amazing what you can do. I just think you needed that little B12 shot of encouragement today.
Well, and I appreciate what you said and what the other caller has said. You know, that's great.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
We'll
Have a
talk
good
again
weekend.
soon.
Definitely.
Bye-bye. You too.
Sure. Bye-bye. We got a latest update on Cayman Airways that they said that the flight after the plane hits a vehicle CAL has canceled the flight. So I guess all of these people that are trying to get home here for the holidays, you know, or going back and forth, we don't know what the whole tail effect, the tail end of this will impact. But that Cayman Airways has canceled the flight after the plane hit the vehicle on the tarmac in Tampa. So I'm quite sure all of those persons who were trying to get home, they're going to have to be rerouted maybe, or Cayman Airways do what they have to do to probably find another plane to put into operation so that it wouldn't inhibit regular operations. But again, keep it locked here. We will update you as soon as the information becomes available. And of course, if you're on the WhatsApp channel for the CMRTV.com, please subscribe. Now let's go back to the whole special caregivers, because we dabbled into that a little bit. And I wanted to just give an expansion on that. If somebody's already on and it's so good to bounce off of somebody else when we're talking, but I want to make sure that we don't lose you. You may be someone who is here on a special caregiver, or you may be a Caymanian employer who has a special caregiver already in your employ, and they're about to expire. We know that those certificates were granted for 5 years. Now you know, and I'm just putting it out there, that the certificates can still be renewed now for one more 5-year period. And if this new law, you know, hadn't take effect yet. So at the end of the day, this means that any special caregiver, like people who are providing medically care for an elderly person or someone with special needs, they're given this extra protection and definitely stability and peace of mind to the homes and families and the person that they're caring for. Now, even though the law is changing, they can extend their certificate yet again for another 5 years. That's the key takeaway. Even though the proposals for this law is what it is, or what is being presented, should it be passed, they can still extend for another 5 years. Now, this, my friends, pretty much ensures that these caregivers and their families who rely on them won't, of course, be thrown into a spiral or a spin, and this sudden disruption, you know, would impact them. Now, we still seeing, and we don't know if this is going to change, that even with this, they would be barred, hindered from applying for permanent residence. So they would only be able to continue to work in the same terms and conditions of that approval, but they wouldn't be able to apply for permanent residence. Okay. So this particular section of this transitional clause is pretty much speaking about the essential caregiver's role during these immigration changes. And for the mere fact that they've highlighted them, they obviously see the importance of making sure that they're covered, and that even if they can't explain it in layman's terms, that it gives reassurance, it guarantees some form of continuity to the families and the vulnerable persons who depend on these caregivers, that they won't be left without the support because of these new changes. And also the government, again, is recognizing the importance of these caregiving roles and giving the smoother transition. So at the end of the day, you know, you may wonder from a community standpoint, which I'm seeing people a little bit more lenient when it comes to domestic caregivers, these caregivers on these special caregivers work permit. But some of the talks is, then why are special caregivers singled out for this protection? Shouldn't there be other essential workers? And that's where, again, we're seeing HSA, we're seeing the exemption clause come in. Emergency responders, yeah, those are your police people. People are saying, well, why can't they get similar treatment? Right now, with the exemptions, it wouldn't be barring them from applying for PR, but they will still be given an additional year to sort themselves out. And in short, keeping the spotlight on the special caregivers. If you're already a special caregivers on a special caregiver certificate, when this new law, whenever it starts, and remember now, I can only report and give a synopsis, give my interpretation on what's already in the public's domain. I don't know, and we have said it numerous of times here, we don't know what the 15 amendments are. We do not, nor have we had sight of the regulations. So we don't know the operational arm of this substantive piece of law, what that means, because that's not normally how they do these amendments. Regulations is not out there for public knowledge until the law is passed, and then that's comes afterwards. With something as big as this, people are saying we need to see the operational arm of the law. We need to see the regulations to make this law make sense. And the birth rate now, based on our population and understanding now with these transitional protection clause that is being baked into this section 35 of the law, you know, once you're already in the pipeline, we're not going to see the impacts of what this new piece of legislation is saying for 9 years. Yeah, that's in simple form, because it's not like you're going to see immediate changes. No, you're not. You're not going to see immediate changes. So at the end of the day, a lot of you may be a little disappointed because that was not what you expected. And unfortunately, your disappointment is maybe because there wasn't breaking it down or simplified enough with examples for persons to really get what is really being presented. There's also another section where it speaks about the date of commencement for persons who hold certificates. Let's say that they need to file an annual declaration. We know that right now the only part that have to file an annual declaration is persons of independent means, persons who have permanent residence that have been here for 8 years, persons of substantive business presence, okay? Under the current law, this law is in effect right now, right? Anyone who has status didn't have to do an annual declaration. But what this is saying right now is that if you already hold a certain type of immigration certificate, and they have a number of types of certificates that is outlined there, when the new act begins, you now have a new responsibility. Yes. You hear me? When this new law comes into effect, you now have a new responsibility, because now you must be able, you will have to file an annual declaration, basically yearly report, stating as required by law what they're proposing. And this applies even if your certificate was issued before the new law came into effect. Yeah. So people who hold specific immigration status, for example, for residency, that may be easy for you. Employment or even special exemptions must now check in once a year with the WORC. And in filing this annual declaration, it really means a declaration if your circumstances is still correct, if you're divorced, if you're married, that sort of stuff, like your employment, where you're living, and other conditions that are actually tied with your certificate. This is a way for what they're seeing now, or what they're saying, for government to keep records and keep up to date to ensure that you are still falling within the confines of the terms and conditions when your application was actually granted. So it's about consistency. It's about having oversight. It's about, again, fairness versus burdens, because we know marital status can change. And if you don't say anything, they won't know. And, you know, you may actually say, well, if they granted me something, why do they need to keep tabs? I've already gotten these certificates. You know, is it creating more way to keep immigration records? But who's to say it's the truth? This goes into exactly what we're saying about the enforcement arm is going to be critical with this. I'm just here to try to interpret these sections as best as I can in layman's terms, because some of the concerns that are being aired is that this thing is being shoved down our throats a little too fast. We're still walking in the blind because all of these protections are already baked into this particular clause that really isn't closing the door. It's actually leaving the door open for approximately 9 years more. And we've already heard that the demand for work permits are actually not going to go down anytime soon, that it's going to actually increase based on demand. So bottom line is, if you already have one of the certificates, like the independent means, substantive business presence, PR, and all that sort of stuff, you have to file a yearly declaration to keep your status, your immigration status, up to date. That's really what that is. So we dabbled into the civil service side of things, but for those of you who may have missed it again, just to bring it, because there's a lot of discussion that's going on and some of the concerns, the whole Caymanians working in the civil service feeling that they are being disenfranchised because the whole idea with the rollover and all this sort of stuff was to actually create succession planning for them, for some of them that are feeling that they're being blocked because of the high number of expatriates that are actually working in the civil service. But under this Section 7 of the Immigration Act, what it really says, and I'm trying to simplify this as possible, is that when anyone who starts out working under the immigration law, but later becomes civil servants, right? Even if they switch into civil service after the new law begins, that their term limit clock does not reset. You get that? So if you're thinking now you would jump from working in private sector and go to government, that you start over from zero, you're mistaken. No, it does not restart. But if you do it now, because this law is still being discussed, it's a different thing. You get where I'm going with that? So their term limit is still counted from the date they first became a resident in the Cayman Islands. And their rollover, their term limit, will end based on their original start date. So this is when this comes into effect, okay? So running from the private sector into the civil service now, because you are, unless you're in an exempted role, and that's where some of our people are getting angry, because you may actually be applying for a role that falls under the exemption. Those would be the only ones where their term limit would actually not matter. But if you leave and in the job occupation or departments where these exemptions doesn't apply, you're not helping yourself, because you would be subjected to the term limit. Yeah. So this is where the explanation is being asked. Good evening, Denny. How are you? Happy Friday. Happy holidays.
Thanks, and same to you.
Thank you.
Been kind of busy today, so I've been listening.
You were
to
buying
on my-
TV too? Your TV expire or your camera expire? Which one?
No.
It's a joke if you were listening
I
earlier on.
I know it's a joke, but I think I turned off the TV about 10 years ago.
Oh, really? So where you watch podcasts on your phone?
I'm very focused. I only watch certain things and I discard all the other garbage.
Oh, smart. That's how you navigate in this new chapter
And,
of our norm. Kudos to you.
and there was no TV to distract the kids so they could focus on their school.
Nice. What's on your mind today, Mr. Danny?
So let's say that I'm buddies with somebody in the government, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they want me to work in the Cayman Islands for them. And I come in to work on, let's say tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and the law comes into force on January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Would all these new fancy amendments apply to me, or
No.
would it be under the old?
No, it's only once the law comes into effect. You would still be under the old law.
And what's their justification for that?
That's to be heard, sir. We don't know.
Well, what kind of consultative process would occur that would not explain these things to the public?
That's why they had the town hall meetings, but that wouldn't have been voluntarily given unless it was asked.
Well, but if I'm ignorant of the fact,
Why should you?
why
That's
would I
educating
ask?
you.
I mean, I would have to know to ask in the first place.
Correct. Which is
Um,
where transparency does not become transparent.
I hope the public really understands the seriousness of what's being said here.
Anybody who arrives on the shores up until now and when this law becomes in effect will be not subjected to what I just read.
Well,
They would be protected under the old law.
Yeah. Right. I want to go on record to be very clear that I absolutely disagree with that. I disagree with it so much. I consider it treason.
Mm-hmm.
Treason. Treason has a death penalty. That's how much I hate what they're doing.
Is it because they're
And
not
the fact-
saying it and we're doing it, we're unearthing it here, and it's giving a bad reflection on how it's pretty much appeared to be shoved down our throats and basically played on our own ignorance?
That's not good governance. Right? It's not good governance. And it's insulting to intelligent people.
But if the intelligence people are not speaking up because they're fearful of retribution, being blackballed, being labeled as an antagonist, a troublemaker, or they may be civil servants who see it and can't say diddly squat because they need their salaries.
I have family that's been to war. Okay. So somebody calling you a name, you think that's going to bother me? You think I care what their opinion about me is?
It takes a special person, Danny, nowadays with how vulnerable and how emotional people are becoming when they're feeling as though the world is against them and all they've ever done is given their all, go and do what they have to do, seeing that those who are willing to do what you're doing, what Belika is doing, what so many more Caymanians have done, but smaller in number, and they have been ostracized by their own people directly and indirectly. It takes a strong person to do that.
But wait a second. They could only ostracize us if the majority sits down and do nothing.
And right
So
now,
the question is, are people going to stand up for what it is that they want?
we're
Or
trying
are
to
they going
help
to
them to
shit?
stand up because right now the numbers are continuously weak. I'm not saying they're dwindling because people are waking up. But are we waking up fast enough is the question.
What people need to understand is that in the days in which slavery was lawful, because it's not lawful today, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. They would take you out in the courtyard and they would beat you publicly. Okay? But it was also an offense that if you came to the aid of the person who was being beaten, oh my Lord, would you get it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's to make sure that you know that you don't help someone that they dislike or are displeased with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, the residual effects of that still linger in societies.
Hmm.
But what you have to understand about courage is that courage doesn't mean that you have no fear. It means that you realize that things are dangerous and that things may be uncertain about what they may try to do, but you stand up for the right things anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
There's a word for that called integrity.
Hmm.
And plenty of the politicians who use that word are abusing it.
Well, not too
And,
many of
and
them, because if you show that, then you're oust. It's not one of the
well,
better characteristics if you want to go in political service. I'm just being very blunt.
yeah, well, the point I'm trying to make is this, is that if you're sitting back waiting for this perfect moment in history,
Mm-hmm.
when there won't be any risk in standing up for your rights, that is never going to happen. Ever going to happen. It has never happened. In fact, there's a saying to illustrate this reality throughout history is that if Samson had available to him 1,000 men to fight a battle, what do you think he would do?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is he would send home 990 of them.
Mm.
And the reason for that is that it has always been that a minority has made significant differences in society.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Moses wasn't a majority. Okay?
Mm.
He was a minority. He was one person. Now, yes, he had God on his side. And I think that we have God on our side too, if we're standing up for the right things. Because you can't be doing foolishness and expect God to support you.
There's a question, Danny, that's
But
being posed. Danny, can we come together and call an emergency public meeting on this issue at the town hall and invite the officials? That's a question posed that I have posted on the screen.
well, I'm not sure that would be aggressive, but I'm not sure it would be as effective as you might think.
Why?
Just because you're putting politicians in a position where they really don't want to be, and they'll just there's another saying. Okay? That saying is, if you want to help people, you tell them the truth. If you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. And that's what politicians do.
But aren't you
all the
appealing
time.
for persons to come out, the
Yes,
question
yes,
posed, and to speak
yes.
up?
But I could say, yes, let's do that because the person is asking to do that. But I'm telling you what I really believe. I really believe that if we as a public, not one or two of us say we're going to be having a meeting, because there's a saying about that too, and I'll get around to that in a second. But what needs to happen is that all of the people in the Cayman needs to say to their politicians, say it publicly, post it in social media, call into the radio, say what you have to say, that we want the public to put a pause on the efforts they have of pushing this through the House and come back to the public and have a proper dialogue about these issues. so that we can understand the rationale that they're employing with some of these provisions and address whatever else people want to have addressed in the bill. The reason for that is this. The saying is this. There's a story about men who decided on the ships that they were going to go to the captain and tell him a piece of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so they said, okay, let's go. And they got and they knocked on the captain's door, and captain opened up and they went in, and he said, Captain, we have something to tell you. And the captain looked around and he said, we who?
Mm.
Is the person who was knocking on his door there was only him left.
Only him left.
And what I'm saying to you is that I'm not going to announce that we're having a meeting
Mm-hmm.
and be the only one at the meeting.
Darn right.
Yeah. I've been around politics long enough to know how it works.
They would prefer to have it streamed.
Yeah.
And no, this is not
but-
one of those meetings that needed to be streamed because there has to be strength in numbers, as in physical persons showing up.
Yes. But in order to get to that point, you need to go to your representative. You need to say to all of your friends, to say to all of their friends, to tell all of their friends to ask the government to pause this and have dialogue with us about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unreasonable. That's not an unreasonable request.
Uh-huh.
And if you ask your politician in a polite way and a respectful way, and you say that we need to have a better understanding, not a private PR explanation about what these things mean. We need to have a public discussion about it, so politicians can be on the record about what it is that they say these sections mean.
Right.
As I was listening talk about what your interpretation is, the thing that came to my mind was this: is that sometimes when you're either in litigation or you're just in dispute with an agency of government about something, what you'll hear is things like, well, that's not the intent of that section.
Often. Common line.
Okay, here's what the problem is. Let's just say you go to the bar tonight and celebrate that big TV you just bought.
Yeah.
And you get drunk, okay? You can intend to get home safely. But if you don't actually get home safely and you kill a pregnant woman on the way home, the judge is not going to say, well, you intended to get home safely. So in other words, what matters in legislation is not what you intended to legislate.
What was the outcome?
It's what you actually legislated.
Right.
And if that does not say what you think in your mind that it says, all sorts of things could go wrong in a court case.
Well, we got 1 minute to go because there is a 7 o'clock schedule. Can you just wrap it up? And it looks as though we need multiple shows on this. Mr. Balika, not wrong. He's not wrong.
No, he's not. And all I would say is this: please, if you want the Cayman Islands to have a fair chance, because we're not talking about just for a couple of years in the future, we're talking about for the rest of our lives. Okay?
You're
Please,
quite right.
Let's have a proper discussion. Take care.
My love, have a good weekend. Stay safe and talk to you next week. Definitely.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. There you have it. Yes, because I am on time this evening, I want to just say thank you. That brings us to a close of another episode of Sabrina Speaks. I hope again that you were informed, enlightened, and definitely educated this evening. It is so good to be able to bring these topics up to you. And look at what a cozy background we have. Yeah. You can tell I love the season. Again, get well wishes to Lavana, continued recovery to Miss Dawn and everybody else out there. Happy birthday to everyone who's celebrating. And Simoon, when it comes, definitely happy birthday to you. Please be safe on the road. Be conscious of your spending. Be aware and alert of those compulsive buys, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we can usher in 2026 and know that we didn't do something stupid just to keep up with the Joneses. Let's make that a promise. It has indeed been my pleasure. Please do have a safe and fabulous weekend. And I'm looking forward to a very, very engaging and informative next week as we continue to embrace the holidays and definitely inform, educate, motivate each other. Mwah! Love you lots. Have a good weekend. God bless everybody.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.